Welcome to the Chirp YouTube channel. I am Christy. I am your friendly online speech-language pathologist and specialist in children's communication development, including behavior, because behavior is a type of communication. Today is another video in our pyramid model series. We are on the targeted social emotional supports tier of the model, and we are in the third video in this tier. I'm doing 5 videos in each tier, and in this tier we are on video 3. In this tier, we aim to help kids deal with improving their social skills and improving their ability to manage their own emotions. Because we can't function well in the world if we can't manage our own emotions. And we can't function very well in the world if we can't interact successfully with other people. We need to be able to do both of those. And those skills are what we call social emotional skills. Social emotional skills. So we need to find ways to figure out what is triggering some of these behaviors. And a lot of times it's going to be a missing skill. Sometimes it might be a physical problem, such as digestive problems or some pain somewhere, maybe an earache or a toothache. Sometimes it might be a sensory issue. Look at that playlist for lots of in-depth information about how to meet your child or your student's sensory needs. But if it is not one of those things, what is it? Why is our child displaying this behavior that we would rather not see? We have to take an assessment. And we talked about that in the very first video in this tier, this little series within a series on targeted social emotional supports. We talked about how to figure out where the missing skills are. And in subsequent videos, we have talked about how to teach those missing skills. Of course, first we have to recognize the deficit, and then we have to teach kids how to do the thing that they don't know how to do. Sometimes kids do not naturally pick up skills that we think they should naturally pick up. Therefore, we have to teach them. That is what we did in the last video in this series. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you a framework for teaching a particular skill. Last time we talked about how to use play situations and books to point out different emotions, different social situations, and demonstrate to kids better ways that they could do those things. In this video, we're going to talk about yet another strategy, which is called pre-teaching. Pre-teaching is specifically looking at the issue that this particular child is having, this unique individual, and providing a model, a very specific and detailed model of how this child could better handle the issue that she is facing. The first step in pre-teaching is to actually pre-teach the skill that you want your child to learn. In the videos on social emotional supports, I have been discussing 4 behaviors: crying, hitting, running away, and making fun of other people. So we're going to do a pre-teaching example with all 4 of these behaviors. The first one is crying, and this one is modeled on me. I did a lot of crying in 2nd grade because I had a bit of a difficult year. And I could have used some targeted social emotional supports, but I did not get them because nobody did this at the time. And even the teachers I did have in my life didn't know how to teach this stuff. So if you also don't know how to teach this stuff, you are not alone. It's kind of a specialized skill, but it's one that I think everyone should be learning. So first of all, we're going to do crying. I might say something like, sometimes at school, when something is hard, I might feel like crying. So we're making a statement. When I feel like crying, I can say, help. I need help, please. In my case, I had skipped a grade. I went from kindergarten to second grade, and I did not get any of the learning material from first grade. And the second grade teacher had no interest. I don't know why they put me in her classroom. She had no interest in catching me up. She just expected that I would know all those things. And some of them I did. Reading, that kind of thing. Of course I know that. But there are some things that they want you to be able to do at a higher grade that you have to learn. And she did not teach me, so I did not know. So I felt like a failure every day when I went to school. Kids, no one does well feeling like a failure every day. I'm sure you've had this experience in your own life as well. It would have greatly helped me had I had the skills to recognize that feeling within myself and to say, I need help, please. I did not learn this yet. Could you explain this to me? That would have helped. So this is our pre-teaching statement. So I'm looking over at my computer if you're wondering. Sometimes I feel like I need to cry. When I feel like I need to cry, I can say, I need help, please. That would have helped me tremendously. Okay, so that's step one, pre-teach. Model for the child what you want the child to do. Step two, prepare the child. This is a little bit hard if you work in a classroom or if you're not paying attention. You have to notice that the child is starting to get a little worked up. So in my case, I might have shrunk into myself a little bit. I might be starting to look a little weepy. I might be, I played with my cuticles a lot, so I might be doing those things. I don't actually remember what kind of behaviors I showed, but I'm sure that there were some pre-crying behaviors that my teacher could have recognized had she chosen to. When you notice those behaviors in your child, the target child, not necessarily your biological child, when you notice these behaviors, you say, oh, it looks like you might be feeling like you need to cry. Remember, you're going to say, I need help, please. You are preparing the child to do what you want her to do. Then step three is to prime the child. Prime the child. What will you say when you feel like you're going to cry? What are you going to say? You can even have a little hand motion that goes with it if there's one that makes sense, so that you can prompt the child when she's not doing the behavior that you are teaching. And then the fourth one is reinforce after the crying moment and she asks for help. Say, you did it. You asked for help. That is how you don't have to cry. You can do a better thing. That is the crying example. Now, we can't just do this one time. We have to do this lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of times before that behavior becomes automatic. That when I feel like I'm going to cry, I automatically say, I need help, please. And maybe in my case, it would have been better to teach, I need a little break, and to have a place where I could go so that I wasn't trying to solve this problem on my own without the appropriate information. I don't do well in that situation. I don't know if any of us really does. Next, let's discuss pre-teaching if a child is someone who hits when they get angry. Let's come up with a circumstance. In this case, the child gets angry when someone gets too close, just gets in his bubble. And it's going to be a boy this time because I have one in mind. So, sometimes I get angry. When I get angry, sometimes I get angry because someone is in my space. When I get angry because someone is too close, I want to hit. Instead of hitting, I can say, back off. Now keep in mind, maybe we wouldn't teach a high schooler to say back off because we could do something a little more socially acceptable, like, I need a little more space, please. But if we're working with young children or children whose only option is a hit or a back off is much better. We're looking for improvement, not necessarily perfection. And we are also looking for something that's age and developmentally appropriate. So a 3-year-old is not going to say, excuse me, you're too close. A 3-year-old is not going to say that. A 3-year-old's going to say, go away or back off. or that's mine, whatever an appropriate 3-year-old is going to say. So look at the child's peers. What are they saying to each other when they get in each other's space? And then modify that for your particular child's abilities. In this case, we're going to say back off. So that is the pre-teach. Sometimes I get angry because someone is in my space. When someone is in my space, I can say back off. Okay, we've done that. Now we're going to prepare. We see someone coming close to the child and we think, aha, this is the circumstance when this child is going to get angry and hit that other child. This is where you're going to prepare the child when you see this other kid coming. You say, ooh, it looks like you might be getting angry. But remember, you're going to say, back off. In this case, we have another hand signal, back off. We can use this as a helpful prompt later. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 3 is we're going to prime. Remember, what are you going to say? We can do the little hand motion, we can do the face to help the child remember right before go moment. And then it is go moment. And either the child says back off or you step in and help the child to say back off. And then afterwards, step 4, you reinforce. I'm proud of you. Instead of hitting your friend, you said back off. That is a great choice. There's hitting. Next, running away. We're going to say the child is running away because there's too much pressure. Maybe the adults are piling on too much work, or it's at a level that's too difficult, or because the child just needs a break and doesn't get enough time to rejuvenate herself between tasks. So here's how we're going to pre-teach. Step 1, pre-teach. Sometimes I feel like running away. When I want to run away, I can say, I need a break. We can do break. Sometimes people do break. Sometimes people do break. Whatever, you probably want a little hand signal to go along with this, once again, so that you can prompt later if need be. And it probably will, because nobody understands and learns these things immediately. It takes some time. Okay, so that was our pre-teaching. Sometimes I want to run away. When I want to run away, I can say, I need a break. And then we prepare. It looks like you're getting a little bit. Oh, it looks like you might want to run away pretty soon. Remember, you're going to say, I need a break. So you have prepared the child. Then you're going to prime the child. When you notice the child is definitely ramped up a little bit, she's ready to bolt, you say, what are you going to say when you want to run away? And hopefully, when go moment comes, the child will say, I need a break. Even if she just does this, that is enough to give her the break that she needs. In these cases, don't be worried about giving the child too many breaks, because it's way worse for the child to run away and for that behavior to get reinforced than it is that the child has a little bit less time working. Kids run away because they can't get their needs met. And if they do get their needs met, the time that they are learning and engaged in some sort of educational activity is going to be more productive. So keep that in mind. We're working on the behaviors first and the academics second, far down the line. Our 4th thing is making fun of other people. This can be a little trickier because we all like to make fun of people. It is something that creates a social bond between us. Together, we're making fun of somebody else, a third person, an outsider. The important thing to remember is that none of us is actually an outsider. We are all part of the family of humans, and we should not be casting anyone in the role of the foreigner. We are all us. We also should get to the bottom of why the child might be wanting to make fun of someone. It could be the child needs some attention, and we need to think of another way that this child could get that attention. A second thing is the child could be wanting to connect in some way, either with the kids he's not making fun of, or some kids make fun of someone in order to build some kind of a relationship with them. I'm going to assume in this case that the reason that this child, I have a child in mind, he did not like other kids who looked different. So anyone with some kind of a facial difference or a racial difference, he didn't like that. And he didn't like kids who learned differently. So kids maybe who didn't speak fluently, or kids who were still working on speaking at all, or kids who had physical impairments. He was very, very critical of everyone, pretty much, except himself. And so one of the things we were working on with him was that everyone is working on something different. We all have different skills that we are learning. One of the things he was learning was how to be kind to people who were different from him. One of the things that Cece was learning was how to talk in full sentences. One of the things that Connor was learning was how to stay calm in class. Everybody has a different set of goals at a different time in life, and we don't get to judge other people because their goals are different from ours. We talked about this a lot. We talked about everybody's individual goals. We celebrated when kids in our class did one of their goals well and made progress. So his pre-teaching was, sometimes I feel like making fun of someone who's different from me. This is not okay. Everyone is working on different things. When I feel like making fun of someone, I can remember everyone is different and that's okay. So this is a little bit different because there isn't actually a thing to do. There's a thing to say to ourselves. Okay, so that's the pre-teaching. The preparing is, someone who looks different is going to come in our classroom today and join our class. Remember, we're going to say out loud or in our head, everyone is working on different things and that's okay. Okay, and then when this child, let's say a child in a wheelchair, comes in the classroom, I look and I see he doesn't like it, he wants to make fun, and I can say, what are you going to say? That's okay. Everyone is different. That's okay. Very good. And then when the child doesn't make fun, maybe the child actually says out loud, everyone is working on different things, and that's okay. Maybe he actually says that out loud. Maybe he tells another child, everyone's different, that's okay, which is something you could include in this process for this particular situation. Sometimes it helps for the child who's working on this skill to tell another child, by the way, everyone is working on different things and that's okay. Because it gives him a chance to verbalize what's going on and what he is working on learning. And then the fourth step is to reinforce. I love that you welcomed our new classmate in a friendly way instead of making jokes. That was a very mature thing to do. I'm proud of you. This is pre-teaching. It's very intentional with the 4 steps. It is easy to do. It does take time and it does take a lot of repetition. And we have to figure out the missing skill that we want to teach before we can teach it. So there are some requirements to make this work well, but it is a really, really functional tool to use when we need kids to learn a replacement behavior for a behavior that is not very functional. Let me know, what are some behaviors that you want to pre-teach your student or your child, and how are you thinking you might do that? Thanks for watching. If you want to, feel free to give this video a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe to this channel if you have not already done that. Then you will get all of the fabulous information that you could ever desire about children's communication development, including behavior. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!